Today we are joined by Trevor, who hasn't figured out... There we go. Look at that.
Am I waving?
And Emma.
Am I waving?
Hey, look at that. We pulled it off.
Yay!
We are doing a bit of an exchange here of information. I will be learning about wine along with Trevor, and she will be learning about Monster Hunter, so it should be a good time. For now, basically, the plan is... Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and what you know about wine while we run aimlessly around the hub and... Actually,
Yay, okay.
better. I have a plan. All right, so we're going to run to the training hall and we can mess around and practice our combos while we talk. So,
Ooh, training hall.
have you been to the training hall yet?
Sorry.
Is that
I
a
am
no?
more excited than I just am.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. To the training hall. Really, you're just going to press buttons, but it's a good way to get a feel for like what you can do when there's something that isn't trying to hit you back.
All right.
Oh, I did one thing in the training hall.
Yeah, you've been in the training hall. We were throwing bombs around, remember?
Oh yeah, that was super fun. Learning
So
how to
we'll run
jump
over there.
and drop a bomb while in the air.
All right. Get on the boat.
Oh, I'm in the trees. Whee!
All right. So it'll actually show your basic combos right in the bottom left corner.
Oh.
Hey, that's
Okay.
convenient.
And you can
That's
just mess
awesome.
around, honestly. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and
Okay.
what you know about wine and stuff, like just in general.
Just in general. So I work at a fancy wine shop in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. I can't talk and swing swords at the same time, apparently, but we're gonna try. I didn't really know anything about wine when I first started working there. And I've been working there for about a year, almost 2 years actually now. So I've obviously had to learn a lot more about wine and drink a lot more wine, and it's been really awesome. And it's really fascinating to learn about. So yeah, I'm excited. But I am also not the wine director. So I am by no means an expert, but I do know a lot more than I did a couple years ago. So hopefully I can be helpful / interesting / also be aware that I am now super judgy about wine. Maybe not necessarily with any, but it is true.
I would assume there's probably a base level of knowledge that you have probably already forgotten the average person doesn't have.
Yeah, it's yeah, probably. Okay.
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about the wine we're drinking today?
Cool. All right.
I will put the bottle up here.
Awesome.
Hopefully the camera focuses on that. Focus, camera, focus. There we
Got
go.
it, camera. I believe in you.
And
And I
What can you
show
tell us
how to
about this?
Pretentiously taste wine. Also.
excellent, excellent.
Great.
I'm here for this.
Okay.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is? Because all I know is it's confusingly named.
It is. So, Robbie and I have the same wine, although Trevor has one that's similar-ish. They're all from France, from the Bordeaux region. The one, I have the cute little half bottle. But the one that Robbie and I have is from the Medoc region of Bordeaux, which is on the northern part of France. It borders the Atlantic Ocean. It's a really flat area, and in Europe especially, they really like hills and slopes, and so it's kind of thought of as not really an ideal place, but they make awesome wine, and it's not that expensive for what it is because it doesn't have like a reputation necessarily attached to it.
A pedigree.
Which can be a tricky thing with French wine, because of, as Robbie, I'm sure you'll talk about trying to
I will.
find
Don't worry.
The classifications in France and in Bordeaux is kind of bonkers, and so it can be a tricky area to get a handle on, because there's a lot of assumptions of, oh, this is from this place, so it must be great. This is from this other place, must not be as great, which is not always necessarily true. So, but this is from the northern part of France. It's warm, but it's mild. They do get some cooler temperatures, so it's actually a really, really great place for growing grapes. They mostly have a Cabernet Sauvignon. The one that we're drinking is a mix of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and a little bit of Cabernet Franc. And,
okay.
Yeah, the one that Robbie and I have is it's a woman winemaker who's been working in the Medoc region for like 30 some odd years, and she's really hands-on. She's super awesome. She goes out to each plot, tries grapes all the time. Sorry, I'm choking a little bit on pollen, even though the window is closed.
You're good. Oof.
Ugh. I don't know if it's as bad where you guys are, but it's like it's so
not
crazy, the pollen is here.
So bad
you can,
here.
You can see the layer of it outside.
I mean, I'm seeing it, but like it was worse earlier. I think the worst of it has passed. But you're just getting spring now, so
we're just getting the worst of it, yeah. Because usually it's not something that bothers me, but this year, oh my god. Whoa.
Trevor, by the way, this is all payback for yesterday. I'm sorry, you're just collateral damage. Trevor kept knocking me in the air with his hammer yesterday.
Robbie is it's payback.
It's payback time.
Robbie, if I use like barrel bombs here, will I still have them, or do I?
Yes,
use them
they
up?
will not be used up.
Okay, that's good. Where are you dropping this shit from?
I guess, I mean, from the animation, it looks like I'm literally just pulling them out of my ass.
Okay.
So.
That's exciting.
Missed you.
So, hey,
Well.
I stayed out of that one. Yay.
Yeah, but you don't need to, like, you can't die here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you
That's
can't
good.
run out of items, so it's a good chance to just try stuff out.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so
Should we,
let's talk
taste
about.
this?
Let's
I'm
try
ready.
it.
I'm ready. All right, so what do I do? Give me
Okay.
some directions.
You're gonna take your glass and you're gonna swirl.
Oh, I haven't poured it yet. Hold on.
Oh, I haven't even poured it
Oh,
yet.
well, you're gonna pour it first. That's important.
I'm not doing my characteristic pour half the bottle into one glass and then just be done. All right, so I have my glass. I
Okay.
saw
Pour
that.
it in.
I saw that. I saw that look.
And obviously, like, this is a good thing to do if you have a few wines and you can really tell the difference.
Mhm.
But, you know, just for fun, and so you know. So you're going to swirl it around,
Okay.
and then you're going to smell it.
Smells like wine.
Smells like wine. Hints of blackberry and bramble. No.
It is. It does smell really nice.
Right?
I will say it's definitely
Kind of earthy.
not my
What if
usual
people-
wine smell. What am I looking
You
for
always
with
like
the
your black
smell?
I was gonna say, You always see people like look it up and hold it up. You know,
Yeah.
like, what do they look for when they do that?
They're looking for color and opacity.
Oh, it's not
Mostly.
bright enough in here for me to see anything like that.
There
need to
there
keep
used
my,
to be a thing where if you've ever heard the term like legs with wine.
I have heard that term.
That's very nice.
Yeah, right. There we go.
That is, if you like spin the glass around, it's how the wine falls down the glass. I don't think I've never learned about that. I don't think that's a qualification that's really used much now, but I guess the way it falls meant something, but I don't know what that was.
Can you hold your glass up again?
Me?
Does that glass have a stem?
Mine does not.
I can't believe
classy.
you would do this.
Well,
After you told me.
I was teasing you. B, red wine, it matters a little less. But anyway, we'll just move right over that. So now the first sip you take, you want it to be a little sip, and then you want to get some aeration, so you kind of like suck air in through your teeth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm already a couple sips in. I wish you'd said this to me.
All right, fair. I can't see you. I probably should have set up the stream on a computer. So.
It's all good.
It's all good. And, just see if you pick up any flavors, textures, or not.
It's super earthy,
Fine.
but like
Isn't
in
it?
a good way.
Really,
It's not like
such a good wine.
Yeah, it's not like whiskey earthy where it's like whoa.
Right.
Not that that's bad, but like
it's really grounded. It's really like sophisticated without being stuffy. If that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. I realize I'm gonna sound like such an asshole throughout this thing, but it's fine. But it's a really, and because it is not part of one of the classier, for lack of a better term, appellations in Bordeaux, they can't charge as much because people don't necessarily know the name Medoc, but a lot of really good wine comes from. So it's actually, while they really could and should probably charge more, they don't. So it's a nice area to explore if you want to start getting into the Bordeaux region without spending a ton of money. I mean, I know this one was a little bit, but you can get a great, like an awesome bottle of wine for like 20, 25, 30 bucks. You don't
Okay,
have
so
to spend
that was my
thing,
question.
Like, with this particular...
That was my question, or one of the questions I had is like, what are some things you can look for if you're just like stopping into the store, you're on your way to a party or something, you want to grab a nice bottle of wine, but like you don't know anything. Maybe it's your first time, maybe the one you usually get isn't there, or the one you like or whatever. Like, what can you do besides ask the store employees who, depending on where you go, may have no idea?
Which, is nice if you have access to like a dedicated wine shop.
Well, I would just call you, but if I wasn't me, what would I do?
So it does depend. I even have notes here. So one of the things to do is to look at the back of labels, because they will often have more information than the front. The front label, generally speaking, is a marketing tool, and it's maybe not going to tell you that much. Also, for sure, try to find smaller producers, more niche brands, which obviously can be a little tricky if you don't know what the big brands are.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, is there any sort of telltale signs if you're not really familiar?
Well, keep an eye out for like wines that you see at a lot of restaurants, those tend to be, I mean, unless you're going to a really nice restaurant that has a great wine list, it tends to be like Josh and J-Lore and Santa Margarita, which are, hey.
Whoops, sorry.
Went after the wrong person, buddy.
Get back here.
And so the way our store is set up is those maybe better, more niche-y, small producers tend to be the focal point. But a lot of like bigger producers will pay stores to have them at like eye level or at prime spots around the store. So definitely look around and see, if you're seeing like Kendall Jackson at eye level, maybe try looking at different shelves.
Actually, that's really good to know. That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Because, I think just because of bars and the way they're stocked, a lot of people think, and I have noticed that this isn't exactly true, but I didn't know what the logic was. But I've noticed a lot of people seem to assume the, Trevor,
My reaction to you hitting me with a bomb.
They tend to assume the bar logic of like the top shelf is the best and the bottom shelf is the worst.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exactly line up the same with, because like you said, it's like when you're picking something out yourself, I guess they want the eye level is going to be what people see first and it's going to be the most attractive. So it makes sense that people would pay for that privilege and thus
totally
the bigger names would get priority.
Yeah. Yeah, and looking around to see obviously this isn't necessarily something you can do if you're like on your way to a party, but just like bringing some more awareness when you're going to different liquor stores, seeing which wines or liquor, beer, it's the same.
Right.
Everybody has, the discount stuff. There's maybe a reason it's on discount, looking for the giant signs of like, hey, you can buy this big bottle for $20. Like maybe that's not a brand to go for. Yeah. Those bigger mass produced brands are probably going to have more signage and ads and that sort of thing because they have the money to do that extra bit of marketing.
Sure.
And another thing to be aware of is importers, which will be listed usually on the back of a bottle.
Oh, I did see that on the bottle I got that they said the importer.
Yeah.
And it said New York, and I was like, oh, maybe that's why Trevor couldn't find it.
So Teuton is a great importer. Kermit, Lynch, Dressner, Jenny and Francois, Broadbent for like Portuguese, Spanish wines. There's a lot. So paying attention to importers can be a really helpful way to figure out if a wine is, worth giving a go.
So if you find an importer you like, you probably will like other things that they pick.
Right.
Okay,
right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Obviously, there are going to be importers who are just like, let's just grab whatever we can make the most money off of.
Sure.
But like the importers I just named, and there's a bunch, and I'm happy to like get lists, and it can be posted somewhere. Do we do that? I don't know.
I can definitely link one when I post a video. I can definitely put stuff like that. That would be really helpful, actually.
Yeah, and I can share links with some good resources for learning. Like I'm obsessed with this podcast called Wine for Normal People.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the winemaker who makes this wine does a really interesting podcast with her. If you want to get like real nerdy about it, but it's a really interesting podcast. Wine Folly is a great online resource. There are tons of awesome books if you want to, start getting into the nitty gritty. And another thing to look for is maybe less known places, like
like regions.
Yeah. We have some really awesome wines from Slovenia, of all places, that are really cheap, but really good. Like we have a Pinot Noir from from Slovenia that we sell, I think, for like $9.99, and it is as good, if not better, as a lot of the more well-known brands of Pinot Noir that maybe begin with an M. Rhyme with Aomi. Which is
so what you're saying is,
it's not actually just a Pinot Noir. It's got other grapes in it to make it sweeter.
Oh, Merlot.
There are lots of tricks. There are a lot of tricks, in especially with like mass-produced wine, to make things taste certain ways, which is fine, but it's good to know.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. I mean, it would make sense that going from like smaller or less well-known places can get you something that might have to try a little harder.
Exactly. And wouldn't be able to fetch a higher price point, not necessarily because it's not worth it, but because people don't know and they're not gonna
Right. I mean, it's all
spend
about
$20 on some random wine from Slovenia, but for $10 they might.
Sure,
like,
yeah, that makes sense. Oh geez. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's already 6.
Boo.
But we should do this again with a different wine. Because it just occurred to me.
Oh my god.
One of the tips that I had written down, because a lot of people come in for champagne, and champagne, it's a style of wine, but it's also, for it to be called champagne, it has to be made in a certain area. And sort of like this Medoc I was talking about, like maybe it doesn't have the name recognition of some other fancier Bordeaux, but it's just as good, if not better. Cava from Spain and Cremant from France are both sparkling wines that are made the exact same way. So if you need like a champagne, but you don't want to pay for the name, those are some great options. So maybe next time we can do a nice
Good.
Cava or something.
Two.
So you're saying I
No.
don't have
Oh,
to
God.
drink Moe Shandon?
Oh. Veuve Clicquot. She's just... You don't.
All right.
You don't. You can drink better things.
Good. I don't think I've ever even had it. Doesn't seem worth it.
It says...
Yeah.
I mean, there are great champagnes, but they're also really expensive. So.
Oh, yeah. If somebody else is buying.
Right, exactly.